Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Today, the real and very sad news of Forrester and Brooke Logan is not a breakup, but a profound, collective moral failure. It is the heartbreaking realization that after decades of claiming to be guided by destiny, their actions have become utterly undeserving of that hallowed term. Their self-proclaimed eternal love, the very foundation of Bridge, has curdled into a devastating two-person echo chamber, heedless of the pain they inflict on the very man who gave them everything. Forrester. This is not the dramatic sadness of a love triangle, a passionate affair, or a tragic accident. No, this is the sorrow of two people so blinded by their own power and self-importance that they are actively crushing the spirit of their patriarch, driving a wedge into the very soul of Forrester Creations. The grand betrayal, Eric's forced retirement, the most devastating blow comes from their coordinated, cold-blooded effort to force Eric, the founder and creative heart of Forrester Creations, into retirement. The news is a shocking, almost unbelievable act of cruelty, wrapped in the saccharine lie of concern. Ridge, fueled by his need for total control and a genuine, but utterly misguided, fear for his father's recent, near-fatal health scare, has deemed Eric obsolete. Brooke, the woman who has claimed to love and honor Eric, having been married to him, after all, and birthed two of his children, has stood staunchly by Ridge's side, echoing his demands. They have weaponized Eric's mortality, transforming his recovery into a sentence of professional exile, the scene of the crime. Imagine the opulent office at Forrester Creations, the place Eric built with his own two hands. Instead of a celebration of life, Ridge and Brooke orchestrated a mock, surprise retirement party. The balloons were not a sign of joy but shackles, the cake a bitter farewell, the crushing words. When Eric, revitalized and passionate, presented a new, vibrant sketch, proof that his creative fire still burns, Ridge's rejection was swift, condescending, and final. He didn't review the work. He simply saw a man he needed to manage. Brooke stood silent, her usual fire extinguished by her allegiance to Ridge, an accomplice in the psychological dismantling of a great artist, a father's heartbreak. Eric's pain is the core tragedy. He is not a frail old man to be put out to pasture, but a passionate artist who defines his life by his work. His warning to Ridge, echoing through the showroom, was devastating. You never listened to a word I said. I will not be put out to pasture. His son and his ex-wife have refused to see him as a creative genius, choosing instead to see him as a liability, a sad, sentimental footnote in the company's future, the isolation of the matriarch, the ripples of this Bridge ego trip don't stop at Eric. This sad news also extends to the rest of the Logan family, creating a profound, painful isolation for the very woman who built her identity on family unity. Brooke. Katie's disappointment. Brooke's own sister, Katie, recently faced professional humiliation when Ridge's regime decided to hire an external PR firm, essentially diminishing Katie's role at Forrester Creations. The irony is excruciating. Katie, hoping for a moment of sisterly solidarity, found Brooke's support hollow. Brooke's focus, as always, was solely on the status quo of her relationship with Ridge, prioritizing her destiny over her siblings' dignity. Katie's disappointment, the feeling of being utterly unsupported by the sister who should be her bedrock, is a quiet, yet deeply resonant sorrow, the evasion of guilt, even in a moment of quiet reflection. As Brooke and Ridge reminisced on their past, the sadness was not in their past heartbreaks, but in their present blindness. They congratulated themselves on overcoming drama, yet were actively causing the newest, deepest wound in the family. They remain in their bubble, incapable of seeing the monster their destiny has created. Two entitled monarchs who believe their happiness justifies all pain. The audience's sorrow, a loss of hope for the longtime viewer. The deepest sadness is the loss of hope in the couple themselves. They are the great love story, the constant against the ever-turning tide of Los Angeles drama. Their countless reunions were always a promise of a new beginning, a clean slate, But this latest iteration of Ridge and Brooke is fundamentally flawed. They are no longer the passionate, tempestuous lovers battling the world. They are a codependent unit of ambition, a partnership built on a shared, toxic need for control. The critics lament, as one observer noted, Brooke is sick. She isn't in love with Ridge. She has a psychological fixation. The words are harsh, but they speak to the tragedy of a great character's devolution. Brooke's decades-long pattern of exalting Ridge above her children, her family, and even her own self-respect has become a crushing weight. Her willingness to facilitate the emotional destruction of Eric to keep Ridge by her side is the ultimate sad news. It proves her addiction is stronger than her love, the unbearable stagnation, the constant back and forth. Ridge choosing Taylor, then immediately proposing to Brooke, then fighting with her only to reconcile, has stopped being a thrilling, dramatic journey. It has become a depressing, predictable cycle. The true sadness is the narrative stagnation, the feeling that these characters are incapable of genuine growth, forever trapped in a revolving door of their own making. They are not growing older. They are merely repeating their worst mistakes with higher stakes, the looming shadow of regret the worst part of this current. Very sad news is the certainty of the future heartbreak. When Eric's struggle reaches its inevitable peak, when the strain of fighting his own family pushes him to the brink, or worse, the full weight of Ridge and Brooke's actions will crash down upon them. Brooke will likely be the first to break, to see the extent of the damage, and the pain will be compounded by the knowledge that she chose her husband over her father figure. Ridge, the spoiled prince, will face the horror of realizing he actively hastened his father's decline, all in the name of a controlling fear. Their great, destined love, which has always weathered the storm of outside rivals, is now consuming itself from the inside. The true sad news of Ridge and Brooke is that in finally winning the battle to be together, they have managed to lose their family, their compassion, and their own moral compass. It is a tragedy far more profound than any breakup. It is the story of Ridge building their relationship on the broken back of the one man who loved them both unconditionally. That, for any longtime viewer, is the most heartbreaking chapter of all.